All right, forget everything you think you know about cooking shows. Today, we're diving into something darker. We're talking about a recipe for revenge. A 500-year-old secret so valuable it turns family into enemies, and a kitchen, well, it turns it into a crime scene. You're gonna wanna stick around for this one, to see how a master chef serves up a dish that is, quite literally, to die for. So, what if I told you there was a recipe that could guarantee you fame and fortune? The only catch? It might just cost you your life. Picture this, a soup so legendary its recipe has been kept secret for generations. Then picture a man so desperate, so hungry for fame, that he's willing to torture his own family to get his hands on it. Yeah, that's where our story kicks off. It's a deadly game of wits, and trust me, the main ingredient here is pure cold deception. Okay, let's set the scene. We're starting out in this quiet little Italian village. It's the peaceful home of a guy named Andre, who's not just any retired chef, he's a legend. And he's not just guarding some old family heirloom. No, what he's protecting is a secret that's been kept for 500 years, the recipe for a soup called potage Francois Premier. And let me tell you, this is not just any old soup. It's said to be magical, like make anyone fall in love with the first bite magical. We're talking about a legacy in a bowl, a true masterpiece. But Andre's peaceful, quiet life, it's all about to get shattered because his niece, Yvonne, and her husband, Gustave, are about to show up. And this right here, this is the core of our conflict. It's a classic showdown, you know, brains versus brawn, the fox versus the bear. On one side, you've got Andre, the cunning fox, the master chef who's earned his stripes through decades of hard work. And on the other side, you've got Gustave, the untrained bear, a greedy, brutish guy who's just looking for a shortcut to the top. So after 13 years of total silence, they just show up, unannounced. And what starts as a supposed family visit gets real sinister real fast. They immediately try to steal the recipe box, but Andre, being the fox he is one step ahead, it's empty. And that's when the masks come off. The threats, the violence, it all comes out, and it gets ugly. Gustave actually tortures Andre with a lit cigarette. It's brutal. Okay, so now we see Andre, beaten and tied to a chair. It looks like it's over, right? He's defeated. He finally gives in and agrees to dictate the recipe. But here's the thing. This is not a surrender, not even close. This is the beginning of a brilliant, meticulously crafted trap. And this is where Andre's genius really shines. He starts dictating this absurdly complex recipe. I mean, it takes 5 whole days. You have to prepare 3 ducks and 3 chickens, simmer the broth for 4 days straight, constantly cooling and skimming, juice cucumbers and carrots. It's the perfect trap for a greedy, impatient guy like Gustave, who thinks he just hit the jackpot. Every single step is designed to wear him down, to make him feel like he's truly earning this masterpiece. So with Andre locked away in another room, Gustave just slaves away in the kitchen. For 5 days and 5 nights, he follows every single instruction to the letter. And you can just imagine the whole house filling up with this amazing aroma, the smell of what he thinks is his future fame and fortune. And here's the crucial part, the key to the whole thing. As he's cooking, Gustave is so focused, so determined to get it perfect, that he's constantly tasting and seasoning. He's doing exactly what any cook would do, right? He's following a critical step that Andre never even had to tell him about. And then, finally, day 5. It's done. The legendary soup is ready. Gustave is exhausted, for sure, but he's triumphant. He takes that first big spoonful, ready to savor the taste of his stolen victory. And bam, just like that, the dream becomes an absolute nightmare. Yvonne comes bursting into the room where Andre's still tied up, and she's screaming, "Uncle, help! Gustave is dying!" He's on the floor, convulsing in agony right after tasting his so-called masterpiece. She immediately turns on Andre, who's still just sitting there bound to his chair. "What did you do?" she screams. She's demanding to know how the recipe he gave them could possibly be poison. And this is the twist. The absolute masterstroke. Andre says, "I mixed arsenic in the salt cellar. You never know." The soup recipe itself, it was totally harmless. The poison was hiding in plain sight, in the one thing any cook uses over and over without a second thought, the salt. Andre didn't poison the soup. He just let Gustave's own process, his own greed, do the dirty work for him. So as his niece is freaking out, trying to deal with her dying husband, Andre just calmly renames his creation. He calls it potage volaille Gustave, which translates to Gustave's chicken soup. He's named it after its final fatal ingredient, Gustave himself. Chilling, right? Wow. Okay, let that sink in for a second. This story is so much more than just a clever revenge plot. When you really think about it, it's a complete masterclass in strategy and, well, human nature. So let's break down some of the big lessons we can pull from this whole thing.
First up, lesson number 1. And it's probably the most obvious, but it's a classic for a reason. There is no free lunch. The most tempting shortcuts, they almost always lead to the most dangerous places. That shiny, easy reward often hides a pretty deadly price tag. Think about it. Gustave wanted all the fame and glory of being a master chef, but he didn't want to put in the decades of work. He saw that stolen recipe as his get-rich-quick ticket. But that shortcut, it was a one-way street right into a trap. And the arsenic, hiding there in plain sight, well, that was the real price of his greed.
Okay, lesson number 2 is all about where real power comes from. It's not always about who's stronger or who can yell louder. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is change the rules of the game when your opponent isn't even looking. Gustave used brute force, right? He tied Andre up, he tortured him. In his mind, he'd already won. But Andre didn't try to fight force with force. He couldn't win that way. Instead, he did something way smarter. He changed one simple rule of the kitchen environment. By poisoning the salt, he basically made Gustave the agent of his own destruction. Genius. And that brings us to our final lesson. Unquestioning certainty is a massive liability. This story is just a chilling warning about the real danger of overconfidence. That moment when you think you know it all, that's the exact moment you're at your most vulnerable. I mean, as a cook, Gustave was absolutely certain about the basics. He knew you put salt in soup. It's a given. He never, not for 1 second, thought to question the safety of something so simple in another chef's kitchen. And that arrogance, that single-minded greed, it completely blinded him. The one thing he trusted the most became the very thing that brought him down. So, as we wrap this up, after digging into this dark, clever story, what's the final thought? What's the real aftertaste of all this greed? Well, there is this quote that seems to sum it up perfectly. Greed smells the most delicious, but its aftertaste is always the metallic scent of blood. It's a powerful reminder, isn't it? That the things that seem the most tempting, the things that promise everything for nothing, are often hiding the most devastating consequences. It really makes you think, in our own lives, what's the salt we take for granted? What's that one unquestioned assumption that could be our downfall?